been a family. I mean, anybody that's been a member of him would do what they could for you.
I learned a lot in this church that meant a lot to me as an adult. It was a great foundation.
It's been as much as I can think of. Beyond my family, it's the closest thing to family that I think I've ever had.
Got a lot of close, caring people in that church.
Congregation, the members of Roberts Chapel, you are so welcomed when you get here. The families that attend this church, not many of us, but they are genuinely good people and they make you feel welcome.
And I think that's one thing that I value so much in this community. They are supportive of one another and they would do anything for each other.
Our church was the center of all of Pendleton and all of our rural community.
Chose as a congregation to stay together, and I think that has been so impressive on me, that we have all worked, men, women, children, everybody have worked to keep our church going.
And then just being in church, we got to know, a lot of people on a different level than probably we would have ever seen them if we had just known them as, people in the community.
Our ministers were all so well educated, and the teachers were, and the leaders of the church were. The whole community. It was just an exceptional place.
Lots of kids. We were very, very, very fortunate that all of the children that grew up in our church have gone on to do well.
We used to have so many young people in our church.
Yes, ma'am.
And they've branched out to other places now. But I can't think of one that hasn't turned out to be a good citizen. And I think our church had a lot to do with that.
Just the fellowship of being a child in the fun ways that we got to experience learning about Jesus in this church.
So we grew up in the church, and we knew that was, we just, like Mom said, it was the center of Pendleton.
After our marriage, we shortly joined the church. One of the most pleasurable things we've ever done.
I know I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for this church.
Well, yeah, it makes me feel like I'm the person I am today, too. And I'm no saint, that's for sure.
I always felt that this was the place that was home as far as my church family is concerned.
People and just all of the adults in general have always embraced the younger people in this church.
We had lots of children, and they were running and going, and from the older people to the very young ones it was a fun time.
And the people care about each other and do things for each other. That's yes. What I see, and you don't see that other places. And I think the church has a lot to do with that.
I have fond memories and always enjoyed when the church would do things for the community.
I don't think the community would be like it is today if that church went on back.
To the people in the community, I think, and have been a beacon to all around, because the church has been on this corner and no one could really operate. And if this church were not in sight or sound or whatever.
The church is the pillar of Pendleton community.
I was just going to say, and the flip side of that was, we have been a giving church, but we also were a church that received.
I felt that the community really stuck together when the church burned. It was very, very heartwarming to see the closeness of the people, and their desire to have another church building built.
We may be small in numbers, but our heart is big. And I hope people will see that when they come through our doors.
I just continue to hope and pray that it will be a welcoming place for families and people of all ages, and just continue to be just a vibrant place to worship and to serve.
It's in the middle of the farm, and yet they are a people who love, they are people who care.
We've always had our church in our community.